story begins at the top of the Daily Planet, where Clark Kent and Lois Lane are having a romantic dinner. Both are reminiscing of how they first met, which prompts Clark to bend the knee. But before Clark could pop the question, the entire city shakes, not because Lois accepts Clark's wedding proposal, but because the fearsome Godzilla arrives. That's right, my friends, Superman's marriage proposal is interrupted by Godzilla. I wish my marriage proposal had been interrupted by Godzilla. But before their legendary battle could ensue, we cut to 12 hours ago. In the Justice League Watchtower, the Flash and Green Lantern are marveling at how awesome Superman is. I can't blame them. It would seem the entire Justice League has been made aware of Superman's intentions of asking Lois Lane to marry him, in addition to the two going on their first vacation together, which also happens to be Superman's first vacation ever, in fact. However, before the two lovebirds can skedaddle, Superman's making sure absolutely all his bases are covered by saving as many lives as he can. It's then Titano, a giant kryptonite-powered ape cyborg, attacks Metropolis. Superman goes to stop it, but Titano's kryptonite laser beams make the Justice League wary, so the Flash races over to help. Despite being the fastest man in the world, however, Superman's already subdued the giant ape cyborg. Throughout the next few panels, we see Superman talk to his fellow Justice Leaguers about how he feels about marrying Lois, and they're all super supportive of him. Meanwhile, the Legion of Doom, supervillains extraordinaires, watch on in complete disgust because they're superpowered narcissists. They're also tired of losing to good guys all the time. As all the villains sulk about their lack of winning streaks, the Toyman points out that the Justice League probably win all the time because they actually get along. Cheetah finds the idea of the heroes being super friends silly. So the truth, and possibly the story's theme of the power of friendship, goes over their heads. Criminal mastermind Lex Luthor has a diabolical plan. For years, he's been searching for Superman's famous Fortress of Solitude, and at last, he's found it. Immediately, the Legion of Doom invade the fortress, searching for a mother box. To those of you who don't know, a mother box is a new god sentient computer. It's extremely powerful, and if it falls into the hands of Luthor, well, something the world probably ends. Furthermore, keen-eyed readers might notice the Mobius chair, usually operated by the new god Metron, and at one point Batman has done it too. What looks like one of Luthor's power suits, which he doesn't seem to care about. I'm sure it's because it's like one of his earlier obsolete models, and what might be the Spear of Destiny. Black Manta suspects all the weapons, devices, and items have a cutting-edge alarm system. Toyman doesn't seem to care as he picks up a mysterious red stone. More on that particular item in a jiffy. Cue the rest of the Legion of Doom looking flabbergasted by Toyman's stupid mistake. But then I can't blame him. I mean, the guy's named Toyman. He's in the Fortress of Solitude. I mean, look at all this stuff. I mean, it's kind of like what happens if I go to like a Comic-Con. Like, you try not to touch something. Back in his mild-mannered abode, Clark Kent is packing his things when he detects the arrival of Bruce Wayne, aka the Batman. Spoilers. The world's finest have a down-to-earth, mature discussion about marriage and the potential liabilities to, when it comes to being married to Superman. Suddenly, Superman hears the Fortress of Solitude's alarms blaring. Before he can go up and away, Batman, because he's Batman, tells Superman not to worry. All this before Superman can, just speed out of there faster than a speeding bullet. But hey, the Justice League has him covered. Back in the Fortress of Solitude, an all-out fight breaks out between the Justice League and the Legion of Doom. With Toyman screwing up bigly, he inadvertently activates the mother box with one of his explosives. While Green Lantern is able to save his fellow Justice Leaguers, power of friendship and all, the Legion of Doom are not so fortunate. Or are they? The Legion of Doom finds themselves transported to a mysterious island where the Titan Skullcrawler attacks them. Before the Titan has time to eat the supervillains, they're saved by, wait, up in the sky! It's an ape! It's a Titan! It's Kong! Kong smashes the Skullcrawler like it's the like button. Unlike his teammates, Gorilla Grodd is enamored by Kong, calling him an ape god, which, he's right. Grodd's villainous teammates unknowingly take refuge in one of Monarch's military command centers. They're trying to find out where in the world they are, but here's the thing, it's not where in the world they are, more apropos, it's more like which world are they on? While Grodd is too busy proselytizing to Kong, who looks very confused, it turns out he's not the only one gushing over these giant monsters. Toyman sees several active titans on a computer screen. We see Kamazotz, Behemoth, and Skyla, calling them toys. Not sure if I can relate. It's then Toyman takes a particular interest in Godzilla. Again, I can't blame him. I can relate to. But the Legion of Doom are still pissed at Toyman for damaging the mother box, leaving them marooned in this strange universe. All of them take turns insulting his intelligence, his value, his self-worth, which isn't a good idea because Toyman starts talking to that mysterious red stone I mentioned earlier, which comic book readers might recognize as the Materia Opticon, aka the Dream Stone or Dream Ruby. It has many names. DC supervillain Dr. Destiny has used it to cause problems for the Justice League in the past. It's made a few live-action appearances over the years, like in Netflix's stellar The Sandman series and the not-so-stellar Wonder Woman 1984. Created by Dream of the Endless, the metaphysical embodiment of all dreams ever, it can make any wish come true. It is arguably the most powerful plot device in comics. And what does Toyman do with it? Well, Toyman must be a kaiju fan because he wishes to bring all of the giant monsters back to his world with the intent of using them to play with the Justice League. We return to the present moment with Godzilla landing in Metropolis. Superman tells Lois he loves her as he flies to meet the Atomic Titan in what promises to be one hell of a fight. But we'll have to wait and see what happens next in the next issue. Okay, so continuing where we left off, Godzilla and his monstrous friends have invaded the DC universe. In the last issue, Godzilla arrived in Metropolis, interrupting Superman's proposal to Lois Lane. What's interesting here is Superman doesn't immediately fight Godzilla. Instead, he attempts to talk the Great Leviathan down. That's definitely something Superman would do. Unfortunately for him, Godzilla is also being written in character, and he does what Godzilla does. He fires his atomic breath first, and never asks any questions later. But Superman delivers a left hook. Mothra be thy name, Superman vs. Godzilla is on. Superman worries a fight with Godzilla might reduce Metropolis to rubble. It would, so he flies in close to remove Godzilla from the playing field, only to get swatted away by Godzilla's tail. Superman is sent flying through several skyscrapers, which reminded me of Superman's final fight against General Zod, at the end of Zack Snyder's Man of Steel. In an office space on the other side of the city, Superman meets the Flash. The Flash reports the Justice League is on its way. Superman doesn't say Godzilla by name since he wouldn't know, what his name is, but what he does know is Godzilla is immensely strong, and he flies off to stop him from destroying his town. Wonder Woman, Hawkgirl, Green Lantern, Supergirl, and Green Arrow are en route, but before they reach Metropolis, they receive an update. 3 more giant monsters have been detected. Scylla is attacking Central City, Flash's turf, Kamazotz is flying over the skies of Gotham City, which is not the first time Gotham has encountered bat monsters, and Behemoth is stomping towards Themyscira, which is the home of Wonder Woman and the Amazons. The Justice League has no choice but to divide and conquer. They do this by calling in the entire superhero community. As they would state on the Justice League Unlimited show, this is an Omega level situation. Justice Leaguer Cyborg informs us Hawkgirl is heading over to help Superman contend with Godzilla. The Flash, Green Lantern, and Supergirl will go to Central City to stop Scylla. Wonder Woman, Green Arrow, and Wonder Girl will face off against Behemoth, but who's protecting Gotham from Kamazats? Batman, of course, and he's not alone. Meanwhile, Wonder Woman and Green Arrow are on their way to Themyscira when they suddenly fly over an island that shouldn't be there. And they're absolutely right, because that is no ordinary island. It's Skull Island, the Kingdom of Kong. Wonder Woman has to meet up with Wonder Girl, so they agreed to have Green Arrow investigate this mysterious place. After all, it's not the first time Oliver Queen's been deserted on an island. We cut to the Legion of Doom headquarters, where Black Manta and Cheetah are monitoring the chaos. We learn Toyman wished the Titans and supervillains back, and some of them are, like Gorilla Grodd, are on their way. However, Lex Luthor is missing. It's right here Black Manta confirms what I said in the previous video. Toyman has in his possession the Dreamstone, which is arguably the most powerful plot device in comics. With it, he wished Godzilla and the Titans into the DC world. And if I'm being honest, I'd totally do the same thing if I had a mystical stone that could grant any wish. Suddenly, we learn Lex Luthor is alive and he's back in his office at LexCorp. Outside, Godzilla and Superman are locked in mortal combat. Luthor instantly suspects Toyman, but knows he needs to retreat to his bunker in order to assess the situation. Speaking of situations, things are becoming dire. Superman is trying his best to lure Godzilla away. Earlier, he noticed Godzilla seems to be drawn to him, as if he's the reason the Titan is here in the first place. That is only scratching the surface. Monsterverse Godzilla's singular purpose is maintaining balance in the world. But this isn't his world. This is the DC universe. The DC universe is extremely dysfunctional. Case in point, it has the Joker. Godzilla thinks there's something wrong about this world teeming with superheroes and supervillains. Just then, Hawkgirl whacks Godzilla with her mace. Keep in mind, Hawkgirl's mace is made of nth metal, which has a litany of special abilities. It's a pretty big deal in DC Comics, right up there with Marvel's Vibranium. But Godzilla isn't impressed. Hawkgirl's hit barely made him flinch. Superman says they need to get him away from the city, which tells us Superman can't do this on his own. When Superman and Godzilla's fight started, it was dusk. Now it's nighttime. That's a little over an hour of fighting. In Gotham, Batman Incorporated is having a hard time managing Kamazats. Conventional weapons do nothing. Jason Todd makes things worse by shooting the Titan in the eye, which ends up backfiring because Kamazats targets highly populated neighborhoods. Luckily, Black Canary is there to save the people in danger. Earlier, Batman deduced Kamazats is a sonic monster and has a pretty good idea on how to defeat him. With Cyborg's help, the superheroes assemble a sonic amplifier on the spot. Black Canary steps up to use it. To those of you who don't know who Black Canary is, simply put, she's not only one of the most skilled fighters on the planet, her superpower is a devastating sonic scream. At point blank, Black Canary's amplified sonic scream strikes Kamazats. Those of you who've read Kingdom Kong know this is similar to how Kong and Monarch ultimately defeated the Bat Titan, but this plan is far more effective. As Kamazats crashes into Gotham Park, Batman walks away like a boss. You've heard of superhero landings? Well, superhero walk-offs are a thing, and few heroes are as good at doing it as Batman. Back in Metropolis, Superman and Hawkgirl are striking Godzilla left and right. As the heroes try to formulate a plan, Godzilla's swipe catches Hawkgirl off guard. Her unconscious body is flung through the air, only to be saved at the last minute by Shazam. Formerly known as Captain Marvel, not that one. Shazam is the mystical equivalent to Superman. Okay, so Superman and Shazam versus Godzilla is a fight I never knew I wanted to see until now. As Hawkgirl would no doubt attest, Godzilla is faster than he looks. They need a plan of action, and fast, because things are literally heating up. Godzilla's atomic breath clashes with Superman's heat vision. We got ourselves a classic Be More. Shazam notices the two are at a standstill. To tip the scales in Superman's favor, Shazam lands on Godzilla's head and shouts, "Shazam!" When he does this, the mystical wizard who bears his name sends a bolt of magical lightning. This magical lightning can either turn you into one of the most powerful beings in the world or turn you back into a vulnerable human. Yeah, Shazam's plan does the latter. However, Godzilla does get a face full of Shazam's lightning. This isn't the first time we've seen Shazam do this. When used strategically, it can be an overwhelming force. It's taken Superman down in other comic book storylines, but was it enough to stop Godzilla? Well, Shazam has turned back into Billy Batson, a young boy who seems quite pleased with his plan. Superman doesn't think highly of his plan, however, and when an ominous blue glow washes over them, the Man of Steel tells Billy to quickly turn back into Shazam. But before Billy can say Shazam, Godzilla's atomic breath envelops them. Superman uses his body to completely shield Billy from harm, but in doing so, he takes the full force of Godzilla's lethal heat ray. As Godzilla's rampage continues, Billy is mortified, standing over Superman's burnt body. That's right, Kaiju viewer. Godzilla torched Superman alive, and now the world's greatest hero is down for the count. The issue ends on a cliffhanger, and Great Caesar's ghost, what will happen next?
In his long career of fighting talking apes, time-traveling supervillains, intergalactic warlords, the fastest man alive has seen it all, or so he thinks. However, as he's running up to Iron Heights prison, he quickly sees the dire state of things. Firstly, there's toxic fog hanging in the air, which slows him down. That's not good when your superpower is super speed. Oh, and there's a giant Cthulhu-like monster called Scylla looming above. Now Flash has seen it all. Being a good guy, Flash runs around the prison, trying desperately to persuade the prisoners to follow him to safety. The problem is these prisoners are super villains, and since Flash is not only a hero, probably responsible for putting them there, but he's also now so much slower, they all take turns wailing on him. Fortunately, Supergirl arrives just in time and clears the toxic air. She flies up to fight Scylla with Green Lantern at her side. Before a battle could ensue, however, she stops in mid-air, realizing she can't hear Superman's heartbeat. Green Lantern, upon hearing this, simply can't believe it. If it's true, it can only mean one thing. Superman is dead. Supergirl flies to Metropolis to see for herself. Flash, of course, has no idea what just happened, and he's just standing there, all confused, like, wait, where are you going? We need you. Speaking of Metropolis, Godzilla releases a thundering shriek. Billy Batson huddles over Superman, clearly traumatized by what he had just witnessed. Before Godzilla could stomp them into oblivion, Atom Smasher tackles the atomic reptile to the ground, buying Billy and a revived Hawkgirl time to escape. But you see, Billy, he's reluctant to leave, and when Godzilla savagely kills Atomic Smasher right before his eyes with a bone-crushing bite, Billy makes what could be his last stand. Blaming himself for everything for Superman's death, Billy calls down the storm. A bolt of magical lightning blazes through Godzilla and transforms Billy into the mystical equivalent to Superman, the superhero known as Shazam. Shazam adopts Superman's strategy of luring Godzilla away from the city, but before he does that, he wants to hit Godzilla as hard as he can. something which Supergirl concurs. She shows up and the two send Godzilla crashing down, most likely into a densely populated neighborhood. Good job, Justice League. Supergirl tells Hawkgirl to take Superman to the Fortress of Solitude. Shazam's plan of luring Godzilla away seems to be working, but it's then she overhears a distress call. The Flash and Green Lantern are having a difficult time wrangling Scylla. Supergirl takes flight, doing what her cousin would have wanted her to do. At Iron Heights Prison, the Legion of Doom arrive to replenish their forces. We find out Black Manta hired Deathstroke to hunt Toyman down, all while planning on letting the Justice League deal with the giant monsters. Captain Cold keeps freezing Flash, much to Green Lantern's chagrin. On Themyscira, Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl confront the Behemoth. I'm so happy our esteemed Mammoth Titan made it into this crossover. Showing wisdom, Wonder Woman chooses to reason with the creature as opposed to fighting it to the death. She and her protege wrap their magical lassos around Behemoth, redirecting it away from the home of the Amazons. Just when they think they've reasoned with the creature, Behemoth shakes them off and leaves. Wonder Woman, she knows what's going on. She realizes something is calling it. Now, could it be Godzilla, or is it something else? Meanwhile, Scylla is about to eat Green Lantern. The Flash breaks free from his icy prison. By spinning his hands rapidly, Flash creates a wind vortex that frees Green Lantern from Scylla's slimy clutches. Supergirl arrives in the nick of time to help them subdue the Cthulhu-like beast. It's then Superman tells them Superman was burnt alive by Godzilla and he might be down for good. Suddenly, we jump to Green Arrow's excursion on Skull Island. The Archer is caught in a battle between Kong and Warbat. Warbat's presence here means Toyman's reality warping affected the Hollow Earth as well. After besting the Serpent Titan, Kong curiously goes to inspect Green Arrow. But Supergirl arrives, which is what she does a lot here. She just keeps showing up when she's needed, which is exactly what you would want from a superhero like her. But Supergirl arrives to ensure Green Arrow's survival, which is smart because blonde women are Kong's kryptonite. Kong's never seen a floating person before, so he reaches out to touch her. Not wanting any of that, Supergirl punches him in the face. But all this succeeded in doing was piss Kong off. In Gotham City, the Justice League team responsible for bringing Kamazotz down are left with more questions than answers. They neither know where the giant monsters came from, nor why they're attacking them in the first place. Cyborg detects a high-frequency beacon, which is what the monsters are responding to. But before the world's greatest detective can put the pieces together, a heartbroken Shazam lands to deliver the news of Superman's untimely passing. But Batman isn't convinced. Oh, no, which means we likely haven't seen the end of Superman. The issue concludes in a desert where Lex Luthor finds the monster calling beacon in question. And, it's none other than Mechagodzilla's eye. What a shot to end on. That is a cliffhanger.
Previously, Godzilla and Superman faced off, and, well, the Man of Steel was turned into a crispy Happy Meal. Let's break down what happens next in the immediate aftermath. In a devastated metropolis, emergency response teams are saving people from burning debris, Green Lantern is transporting the recently slain Atom Smasher, and Shazam watches Godzilla disappear beneath the ocean waves. All the while, Batman is talking to Superman, promising him he won't let things end like this. When Wonder Woman and the other Justice Leaguers break the news that Superman is almost certainly 100% dead, Batman doesn't believe it, which should make everybody suspicious. If Batman doesn't believe it, something's up. When they tell him they couldn't find a pulse, Batman declares Superman is alive because his heart is bigger than all of ours. True. Almost immediately, Batman goes to work. The world's greatest detective reveals the Dreamstone is missing. Wonder Woman, the Flash, and Hawkgirl's reaction says it all when they hear this. Quick reminder, the Dreamstone is a reality warping object capable of granting any wish. Since it belongs to Dream of the Endless, it is one of, if not the most powerful artifact in the fictional multiverse. That is why they're all spooked. It doesn't take long for them to deduce Toyman is the one wielding the Dreamstone. Honestly, we're kind of lucky it's Toyman, of all people. Imagine if instead it was someone like Darkseid. Wonder Woman contacts Cyborg, who informs her the monster summoning transmitter that was found in the desert in the previous issue, which I think is Mechagodzilla's eye, is gone. He tells her Scylla has disappeared underwater, and Behemoth is making a beeline for North America. But it gets worse. Godzilla is heading straight for them. He's heading for the Fortress of Solitude. This makes the heroes think Godzilla is still after Superman, making them suspect the Man of Steel is still alive. The Justice League prepares to move Superman to a more secured location, one where Godzilla hopefully can't reach him. However, the Flash wonders where Supergirl might be, because, you know, he's thinking like surely Supergirl can use her supervision to tell if Superman is, you know, still alive or not. But Wonder Woman assumes if Supergirl isn't here, she has good reason to be. And, well... yeah, what's Supergirl doing? She's having a staring contest with Kong. I know, it's a funny segue, but this actually helps establish a couple things. One, it shows that, you know, Kong is not like the other Titans. He's capable of empathy, as is demonstrated when Supergirl kind of begins to feel sad when she's thinking about Superman, like her cousin, thinking about whether or not he's still with us or not. Kong is able to mirror her emotion, which again kind of begins to set him apart from all the other monsters. Supergirl thinks Kong isn't a threat, so she takes off, warning Green Arrow not to get in Kong's way. And oh yeah, Green Arrow, completely forgot he was here, but there he is. They're all on Skull Island, by the way, and he's soon swarmed by Ra's al Ghul's League of Assassins. This is a pretty big deal. Green Arrow fights them, but he's clearly outnumbered, which is why Kong lends a hand. In a great shot, Green Arrow is hanging over a ledge when he sees a ship that belongs to the League of Assassins. As he heads down to investigate, we see all the League of Assassins' bodies being flung through the air, you know, plummeting to their deaths, and it's awesome and funny. In the orbital watchtower, Wonder Woman and Hawkgirl are investigating Godzilla's heat ray. Their sensors detect residuals of some kind of radiation. That this might go on to prove that Godzilla's death beam emits some type of radiation that is similar to kryptonite, which explains why Superman flatlined as fast as he did when Godzilla's atomic breath hit him. It's then Lois Lane arrives. The Superman fan in me absolutely loves the Superman-Lois Lane dynamic, as their relationship is... well, it just plays a vital role to the mythos. But here, Lois walks up to the, well, practically dead Superman and whispers in his ear that she found his engagement ring for her, and in order for her to wear it, which she would very much like to do, he needs to get better. It's a touching moment. It's done extremely well, and it just reminded me of the scene at the end of The Matrix where Neo is dead, but Trinity reveals that she is meant to fall in love with the one. So as you can see, Neo, you can't be dead because I love you. It's pretty powerful stuff. Suddenly, the Justice League receives a distress call from Aquaman. Atlantis is under siege by an aquatic titan, and they need their help ASAP. Lex Luthor. He is the one who has the Titan beacon transmitter, aka Mechagodzilla's eye. I'm dying on this hill. The reason why is because keen-eyed readers will notice Luthor's shop is full of Mechagodzilla parts. We clearly see Mechagodzilla's tail and one of his feet back there, and in the foreground, so yes, it's Mechagodzilla.
Luthor himself is so damn impressed by the Monsterverse tech, making mention of a mechanized titan capable of defeating the greatest monster, Godzilla. Luthor thinks this will elevate his weapon systems beyond anything LexCorp has ever created. Kudos to the Monsterverse, your tech made Lex Luthor jealous. Now all we need is Marvel's Iron Man to complement it, and we're good. Luthor describes Godzilla as being an unstoppable force, with nothing suggesting he can be manipulated into destroying the Justice League. This further reinforces the idea of Luthor building a modified version of Mechagodzilla in order to counteract Godzilla. Until then, Luthor will use the transmitter beacon to keep nudging the Titans into fighting superheroes. Oh, real quick. What's interesting here is, just like Batman was, Luthor doesn't believe Superman is dead. I found that very interesting. But anyway, speaking of Titans fighting superheroes, that's why we're all here. On the next page, we dive into the ocean depths, where we see exactly not what, but who is attacking Atlantis. It is the Titaness Tiamat. Tiamat was last seen giving Godzilla a good run for his money in IDW's Godzilla Dominion graphic novel. So yeah, the Justice League and Atlantis, they have their work cut out for them. During the undersea battle, Tiamat emits a cloud of purple ink and electrical beams. Green Lantern doesn't know how long he can hold them off. Over a comlink, Cyborg updating them on the Titan beacon and how it's the least of their problems. It's the least of their problems because Godzilla arrives. Godzilla blasts Tiamat in his face, which makes me think Godzilla is aware of Luthor and or Toyman manipulating the Titans, and he's trying to stop it. He's trying to wrangle them in. Godzilla and Tiamat battle, risk destroying all of Atlantis. Since the Justice League can't stop the two dueling Titans, Aquaman is forced to free the last line of defense, Atlantis' failsafe. In order to stop these monsters, Aquaman is going to release one of Atlantis' own, the Kraken. Okay, so one of my favorite new monsters happens to be the Kraken from the movie Aquaman. And if this Cthulhu-looking underwater beastie is anything like her, Godzilla and Tiamat have a serious fight on their hands and fins. This issue concludes with Green Arrow sneaking aboard the League of Assassins ship, where he discovers a mammoth-looking skull. There's this funny bit where Green Arrow is thinking about what he needs to do, only to be confronted by Ra's al Ghul's elite assassins, and he even asks them, if his thought monologue was said out loud, and the assassin bluntly responded, "No," which I thought was hilarious. Green Arrow barely escapes with his life and finds himself stranded in the ocean. Next up, we find out Batman, with considerable help from the other Justice League members, is assembling the Flash's Cosmic Treadmill. The Cosmic Treadmill is a device capable of not only traveling through time and space, but to other universes. This might be Batman's solution on how to send Godzilla and his Titan friends back home. Something else happens here. Cyborg makes mention of how Kong, being the only good Titan, might be a potential ally, which is something Batman is open to. Given how promotional material suggests Batman will pilot a giant Batmech, I think it's possible that in addition to the Cosmic Treadmill, Batman and the Justice League are building something more. So I'm calling it now. We will see the Batmech show up soon. It'd be cool if the Cosmic Treadmill is part of it too, maybe operating as the Batmech's engine. On Skull Island, Supergirl returns in search of Green Arrow. Instead, she finds Kong being worshipped by Gorilla Grodd and his army of sentient apes. Using Kryptonite, Grodd mind controls Supergirl and forces her to KO Kong. It looks like Grodd is not only sabotaging Kong's potential alliance with the Justice League via Supergirl, but setting himself up to be Kong's potential savior. Don't be surprised if when Kong comes to, we see Grodd save him from Supergirl. But if you ask me, Kong, famous for having a soft spot for blondes, will still forgive Supergirl in the end when the time is right. Back in Atlantis, Green Arrow is beginning to succumb to the immense water pressures of the ocean depths. This isn't good because Hal Jordan is single-handedly keeping Atlantis alive from bursting like a bubble. But as his concentration fails, so too does his Green Lantern ring. Suddenly, the other human Green Lanterns arrive in the nick of time. But even though Atlantis is saved, Godzilla is very much alive. Declaring victory over the Kraken, Godzilla prepares to leave until Aquaman and Wonder Woman shackle him with nth metal. Nth metal is DC's equivalent to Marvel's adamantium. It's nigh unbreakable. If Godzilla breaks it, it'll be like the hardest substance he's ever broken. We'll see if he can do it, or the heroes are forced to free him because of an even greater threat. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, hint, hint. Speaking of greater threats, while the Justice League is celebrating taking Godzilla, the biggest threat, off the board, Lex Luthor is about to make everything so much worse than it already is. In his long, illustrious comic book career, the greatest criminal mastermind has wielded all manner of powerful weapons, suits, and artifacts, but never before has he felt this powerful. Mercy informs him that 4 Titans are making a beeline for him. Luthor simply responds back with, "Let them come. They need to learn who the true Alpha is." That's right. Lex Luthor, criminal mastermind, is in control of Mecha Godzilla. Oh my god. But that's not all. There's an even greater threat brewing. As the comic ends, we see Ra's al Ghul overseeing the arrival of the dead Titan we saw earlier. In a previous video, I thought Ra's al Ghul's endgame was to drop the dead Titan into the rejuvenating pools of the Lazarus Pit. However, his plan seems to be even more nefarious. In the Watchtower, Cyborg is addressing a fatigued Justice League. It's been 10 days since the Titans appeared. The superheroes are not only beaten up, they're nowhere near finding Toyman and the Dreamstone. The good news is Godzilla, the most powerful Titan, is currently trapped at the bottom of the ocean. Aquaman used the indestructible nth metal to keep Godzilla shackled. Not even Godzilla seems strong enough to break it. But the bad news keeps getting worse. Titanus' Behemoth, Tiamat, and Scylla are making a beeline for Metropolis. And let's face it, Metropolis at this point, it's starting to, know what it's like to be Tokyo in the Godzilla series, if you know what I mean. Unfortunately, Kong, once thought to be a potential ally, is missing in action. Even worse, Superman doesn't seem to be making a full recovery. Until Lois Lane wakes up and finds the Man of Steel. He's missing. Great Caesar's ghost. See, I think Batman did something leading up to this. It literally just happens right before Lois finds out Superman is gone. And so hopefully we'll find out soon if he gave Superman something to, somehow manage to find a way to revive him. The Legion of Doom is preparing to meet up with Lex Luthor. Luthor is now fully in command of the Apex Titan Mecha Godzilla. But you see, Luthor isn't interested in bludgeoning the Titans to death. No, see, on the contrary, Luthor wants them to bow to him as their new alpha. And then it happens. Right as Luthor's Mechagodzilla has the Titans under his control and they're gonna get ready to, just absolutely destroy the place, Batman shows up in his own giant robot. The Batmech is here. I'm beginning to think Batman and Lex Luthor literally went on some kaiju movie binge watch before all this, because
I mean, I'm seeing Pacific Rim here. I'm seeing classic tokusatsu. I'm seeing Sentai. I'm seeing so much going on here, and it's just, I'm loving it. Thanks to the Justice League, Batman was able to assemble this prestigious anti-Titan fighting machine in no time. Even Lex Luthor is impressed. Batman, Cyborg, and the Flash are now working together in sync to operate the Batmech, which tells me it will be a formidable machine. With the Justice League as backup, the Batmech leads the heroes into a titanic clash against Lex Luthor's Mechagodzilla and Titan army. We're treated to a litany of dream come true battles here. Batman's giant robot fights Mechagodzilla, Aquaman and Hawkgirl square off against Tiamat, Wonder Woman and Wonder Girl fight Behemoth. Not to be outdone, the Green Lanterns combine their powers to create Green Lantern Robo. It's basically, clearly the Green Lanterns have been watching Power Rangers, because this is like the Green Lantern Megazord. And what might be a clever callback to Hal Jordan taking Batman out with one punch, Robo Lantern, as I'm calling him, knocks out Scylla. Suddenly Supergirl arrives to incapacitate Wonder Girl. You see, she's being mind controlled by Gorilla Grodd, who also has the support of the eighth wonder of the world himself, Kong. As Supergirl and Wonder Woman exchange punches, Kong picks a fight with Robo Lantern. Now, keep a few things in mind. Green Lanterns channel their willpower into the most dangerous weapon in the DC universe, the Green Lantern Ring. Anything the Lantern can imagine, they can create with the light constructs. They're extremely powerful heroes in their own right, and there are 5 lanterns powering Robo Lantern. So, in an unbelievable display of strength, Kong tears Robo Lantern's arm clean off like it was made out of cardboard, which is bad news for Guy Gardner, the lantern that was powering up that arm respectively. Surrounded by Gorilla Grodd and the Legion of Doom, Guy believes he's got a fighting chance until Grodd crushes his head. What the hell? Oh, man. Distracted by the sudden death of one of their own, the Green Lanterns are quickly overpowered by Kong. But before they too have their heads crushed, Aquaman leads a team of superheroes against Grodd and the Legion of Doom. Meanwhile, Batmech and Mechagodzilla are throwing down. They seem to be evenly matched until Kong jumps in and gives Batmech a big ol' ape hug. It's 2-on-1 and things aren't looking good for Batman's giant robot. Beast Boy hates those odds, you know, he thinks 2-on-1, that's just never okay. So what does he do? He turns into a giant Kong. Beast Boy, for those of you who don't know, Beast Boy is basically the embodiment of the animal kingdom. He can shapeshift into any animal, and I guess that means animals off-world from different, not just on different planets, but from parallel universes. So he can turn into Titans too. But you see, Beast Boy's time as Kong is short-lived. He's quickly taken down by Supergirl. Clearly, she didn't like seeing her BFF getting beaten up by a green copycat, or copy ape. Okay, so realizing Gorilla Grodd is using kryptonite to mind control Supergirl, whose allegiance in turn determines Kong's loyalty, the Justice League concentrate on removing that problem, and they do so very quickly. Gorilla Grodd's mind control is removed, and with it taken off the board, Supergirl and Kong switch sides. The timing couldn't be better because Ra's al Ghul's hybrid titan arrives. Let me tell you, it's a supersized, demonic-looking skullcrawler. This thing looks terrifying. It looks huge. Like, clearly it's going to dwarf every other titan on the board. This confirms Ra's al Ghul has been dumping dead skullcrawlers into the Lazarus Pit, combining them into this giant titan Frankenstein. I don't know what it's called. Skullcrawler, Skull Devil, Titan Skull. I have no clue what we're going to call this thing, but it's scary, and it's likely going to prove to be the most dangerous Titan there is, well, until the next comic or the next movie, who knows. And then we arrive at what might be the craziest ending yet. At first, what appears to be a golden comet is seen racing into the ocean. Suddenly, we hear someone say, "Godzilla. We have unfinished business." Superman lives. Superman, he's back, he's fully restored, and it looks like he and Godzilla are about to have round 2. Aboard the Watchtower, Lois Lane watches all this chaos unfold with tears in her eyes. Superman, who is practically dead, is missing. She doesn't know where he went and can't get a hold of anyone with answers. Suddenly, in a blinding flash of light, Superman appears to her, glowing like a golden god of hope. It turns out Batman and Cyborg did save Superman's life by using the Watchtower to transport the Man of Steel to the sun, where the solar energy recharged his cells. But Superman is more than recharged. Being in close proximity to the sun gave him a significant power boost. Superman, one of the most powerful heroes in the world, is now stronger than ever. Which is why he's confident enough to ask Lois Lane to marry him right then and there. And she says yes, of course. Back on Earth, Deathstroke and Cheetah make a huge, startling discovery. You see, all this time they've been hunting down the Toyman, who is in possession of the reality warping artifact known as the Dreamstone. He's the reason why Godzilla and the Titans are running amok on DC Earth. We've been wondering where he's been all this time, wondering what sort of evil schemes he's going to hatch. As it turns out, Toyman is dead. He was crushed by Godzilla, Lucky Bat, when he first made landfall in Metropolis back in issue 1. While Toyman's surprise comeuppance is hilarious, the bad news is the Dreamstone is missing. Meanwhile, it's all-out war in Metropolis, and what a beautiful page spread. This is like an award-winning shot right here. I mean, this is desktop wallpaper worthy. The Justice League knows they're outnumbered. In order to save the day, they'll need to concentrate on the smaller ones first. This, in turn, might give Kong a chance to topple the Skull Devil. In what will pay off later, Kong overcomes his fear by challenging the Skull Devil. And then out of nowhere, Behemoth smashes the Skull Devil like it's the like button. With the monstrosity down, Kong doesn't miss a beat. He slams his fists on the Abomination's face, realizing he's not alone. Beast Boy has returned as the Green Kong. Kong's reaction is priceless, but their bonding moment is cut short when the Skull Devil and its allies quickly overwhelm them. As this is going down, Supergirl and Wonder Woman take down one of the Skull Crawlers. Batman calls for aid as he can't fight Mechagodzilla and the Skull Crawlers at the same time. Supergirl helps him out, but it doesn't stop Mechagodzilla from thrashing the Bat-Mech. As Flash and Cyborg try to reboot the mech, Batman announces they're out of time. You see Mechagodzilla right there at point blank is charging up his proton scream, which would undoubtedly just annihilate the Bat-Mech, sealing Batman, Flash, and Cyborg's respective fates. 5 minutes prior, however, we see Superman flying to the Legion of Doom headquarters, where he saves Billy Batson. It's a heartwarming moment between the two, as Billy is still blaming himself for Superman's near-death experience several issues prior. And, you know, it was his fault, let's just be real, but Superman lets him down gently because he's Superman, and Billy is, you know, a kid. So, after saying the magic word, Shazam, Superman and Shazam are flying side by side. Superman tells Shazam he'll meet him in Metropolis because he has one more stop to make. Back to the present, Shazam saves Batman by striking Mechagodzilla's head, forcing the Apex Titan to fire its proton scream at an unsuspecting Skullcrawler. But Batmech and the Green Lantern robot regroup, finding themselves completely surrounded. While this is happening, Shazam and Wonder Woman tag team Behemoth for some reason. Behemoth helped Kong a few minutes ago. Why are you hurting my beautiful mastodon boy? Supergirl incapacitates Scylla before being swatted away by the ginger giant known as Giganta. Next, we're treated to Superman's one last stop. It's at the bottom of the ocean where we last saw Godzilla. Godzilla is chained up by nth metal, the hardest substance in the universe. Even though Superman knows Godzilla doesn't understand him, Superman is still able to empathize with the king of the monsters. So let's get a couple things out of the way. Superman is supercharged. He's stronger than he was when he last fought Godzilla. If the two were to throw down a second time, it'd be a lot closer, no doubt. And I feel like this is confirmed when Superman not only avoids Godzilla's heat ray, he topples the atomic giant with one punch. But Superman isn't seeking a rematch. No, he just needs to get Godzilla mad enough to follow him, which he succeeds at doing. Quickly, Superman frees Godzilla out of his shackles and flies with a big G in hot pursuit. Back in Metropolis, things are not looking good for our heroes. The Skull Devil has Kong wrapped up, and Mechagodzilla is slapping Beast Boy Green Kong down like he stole Luthor's favorite Godzilla figure. And then, it happens. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. The late Guy Gardner's Green Lantern ring chooses its new successor. And while it doesn't say this in the actual comic, I'll say it anyway. Kong of Skull Island. You have the ability to overcome great fear. Welcome to the Green Lantern Corps. That's right, Kong becomes a Green Lantern with the most powerful weapon in the universe. Kong quickly goes to work. He constructs a light ring duplicate of his battle axe and slices off the Skull Devil's tail. Mothra be thy name. This is so epic. Oh man. So Green Lantern Kong looks over at the other Skull Crawlers with a big "who's next" look on his face. With the tides turning in their favor, Shazam, Supergirl, and Wonder Woman combine their godlike strengths and they tear Mechagodzilla's arms clean off. But Mechagodzilla, Lex Luthor's beatdown, has only just begun. Batmech lifts Mechagodzilla high over his head, and in a clear callback to the time Bane broke Batman's spine, Batmech slams Mechagodzilla's metal back on its leg. But there's no time to celebrate. Suddenly, the Skull Devil, don't forget about him, bites Batmech in half as Kong readies himself to fight his arch nemesis. A battle he may not win, even with the Green Lantern ring. The cavalry arrives. Godzilla and Superman have entered the chat. The Super Titans are here! Immediately, Godzilla takes one look at the Skull Devil, and he's like, "Nuh-uh, nope, you gotta die." Even Superman is like, "I knew you'd have something to say about this." Godzilla pounces on the abomination like how I pounce on new Haya toy merch. With the Skull Devil down, Godzilla and Superman charge up their respective energy attacks and fry the precious bodily fluids out of the Skull Devil. Oh man, it's like an atomic breath, heat vision combo, and it's awesome. Despite being reduced to a burned out husk, however, the Skull Devil seems defeated, right? Nope! Kong most certainly doesn't think so. The great ape lunges at his adversary and buries his light construct battle axe into its noggin. In short, the Skull Devil is dead when Kong says he's dead. Godzilla and Kong roar in victory over their broken enemies. While the monsters roar like monsters do, Superman reveals he is the one in possession of the Dreamstone. You'll never guess where it's been all this time. You see, after crushing Toyman, the Dreamstone's been stuck to Godzilla's foot all along. Godzilla and Kong flex as Superman returns them to their universe, and our story concludes with Clark Kent and Lois Lane having a picnic, contemplating their future together as the world's finest couple.